The humid Nairobi weather buzzed with a light rain outside the modest apartment in Zimmerman Estate. Inside the small dingy room, the air was stuffy with the scent of sweat, instant noodles, and fried spicy mutura. A lone monitor was placed on a console table, casting a ghostly blue hue across the cramped room, where the seven distinct figures waited. They were seven IT graduates. They were brilliant, broke, and bitter. There were seven little minds, seven weapons, all of them jobless. This is a Walnut Stories tale about the virtual money heist that was planned and executed to perfection by a group of seven IT graduates. Unemployment had dried up their dreams. They were done hoping to get employed. They were trapped in a cruel paradox. They were armed with degrees and qualifications, but the job market was saturated. Their degrees that had been symbols of achievement felt like pieces of paper bought at a steep price that brought no returns. They had submitted thousands of applications. Each rejected application chipped away at their confidence, leaving frustration, anxiety, and self doubt. Their leader was 27-year-old Kevin Syntax Wanjala, a graduate from JKUAT. He was wearing a worn hoodie and faded Levi's over his lean frame and had a full head of ragged hair. He was a digital ghost, a master of penetration testing, malware scripting, and silent text filtration. He was standing silently, staring with narrowed eyes at the code scrolling on the screen. Miriam alias the Glitch Shege sat cross-legged on the sofa. Her laptop was adorned with graffiti stickers. Her fingers were flying across the keyboard as lines of encrypted data spill across the screen. She paused to adjust her glasses, flicking her sleek dreadlocks to the side, and continued scribbling algorithms. She was 26 years old and was fluent in cryptography and security layers. She used to lecture at a tech bootcamp before it folded due to corruption scandals. Tasha alias the Rootkit Olo was generating facial templates and identity spoofing scripts using artificial intelligence. She spoke with a different voice every time. She was the youngest. At 24 years old, she was an expert in social engineering, AI generated disguises, and deepfake ID manipulation. She could practically become anyone by assuming any identity she fancied. Brian alias the Phantom Kipto liked tinkering with machines since he was little. He sat on the carpet designing a custom drone and thermal imaging goggles using recycled parts. Dennis alias the Payload Otieno was pitching a new app on a freeware site. He was a 25-year-old app builder. He was the brains behind a popular mobile payment app that had been stolen by a major telco before he could launch it. Janet alias the spoof Wairimu was a biometric illusionist. She was adjusting a biometric scanner. Her desk in the corner of the room was cluttered with 3D printed prosthetics, silicone masks, and voice recorders. She was testing an iris clone against a dummy scanner, talking softly in various imitated tones. At 29 years old, Janet had mastered voice modulation, iris duplication, gait simulation, and all forms of physical identity imitation. Dressed in fatigues, she had a mane of beautiful shoulder-length locks, but could become anyone she fancied using her flawless mimicry skills. Then lastly was Mark alias the Sniff Molly. He was staring at a wall covered with digital maps and IP chains. Strings of network nodes and surveillance tabs lit up across continents. His eyes were following the trail like a hunter tracking prey. He was 27 years old and was a master IP tracker. Mark could trace a single encrypted packet bouncing through 6 continents. This group of seven had so many expectations pegged on them. They faced a lot of pressure from their parents. They were expected to uplift their families and serve as role models in the community that saw them as success stories. But then the grim reality of unemployment had forced them to work casual jobs far below their capabilities. Their youthful optimism and dreams faded into desperation. They were expected to inspire, but then again, they themselves were searching for that infamous light at the end of the tunnel. The rain kept on drizzling outside, freezing the temperature. Kevin's voice cut through the cold in darkness in the dingy room. Get this straight, guys. The system has failed us, and now we have to rewrite it. We have to change our destinies. He shared his plan in detail. The room passed with new raw tech energy and anticipation. Something big was about to go down. Now, get this, fam. They unanimously agreed to stage a virtual money heist using keystrokes. Their target was Jamii Bank, a flashy fintech darling located on Kenyatta Avenue. It was widely known for its aesthetic user interface, but it had lacked security. Just the perfect place to set the money heist. No, fam. I'm not into La Casa de Papel, the popular Netflix series based on the heist staged at the Royal Mint of Spain. No lorry-loads of cash or gold would be carted away. This was far more complex. Only legends can understand this. The team had scoped the system for a couple of weeks. Tasha had created dummy employee accounts using deepfake stitched from LinkedIn photos and old university IDs. Janet spoofed biometric entries using stolen iris scans from another paid hospital employee who worked security on weekends. Brian launched a custom drone with thermal and infrared lenses, mapping the building's Wi Fi signal and internal floor layout from a kinyozi located on the third floor of the next building. Kevin and Dennis built a live dashboard coded in Python and Node.js, disguised as a Nairobi weather widget that silently monitored application programming interface endpoints and backend transaction logs. They baptized the silent malware they had created Whisper Drain. The payload targeted was a few coins from every mobile transaction, small enough to be invisible, but they knew the millions of crumbs would become a feast and people would barely notice. The ghost malware will enter the system and siphon off thousands of cents per second from each individual client's account. The execution was simple and scheduled perfectly. By 5:30 Saturday morning, Jamie Bank systems were flagged for routine maintenance. By 5:45, Miriam had uploaded the first phase of Whisper Drain. By 6:15, a total of 70,000 Kenyan shillings was being funneled per second to an offshore wallet, broken into microtransfers. The money was bounced through three cold crypto wallets in Czechoslovakia and the Netherlands before being rerouted to Uganda and South Africa. Let me tell you, it was done so seamlessly and with such ruthless precision that by 7 a.m., 304 million Kenyan shillings had vanished. No forced entries, no alarms triggered, and they just vanished with no digital traces. Within 24 hours, the group had scattered into different locations within the East African region. Within 48 hours, some of them had gone further south. All members adopted new identities, immediately transforming their looks and backstories. Kevin shaved his head, bleached what was left of his close cropped hair to a light blonde, and dyed his table blue. His glasses were replaced with intraocular smart lenses. He posed as Hakim Juma, a South African university lecturer in Durban teaching ethical hacking and a new passport. Miriam threaded her sleek dreadlocks for a short curly afro dyed a magnificent copper red color. She wore long flowing dresses, adopted the persona of a gospel singer named Sister Magdalene, and joined a Kampala church where her voice melted souls every Sunday. Tasha literally hacked her own face and used AI face mesh tech to create a fake injury story. She wore a custom built facial prosthetic. She became Frasha Mwanzia, a refugee aid worker in Mombasa speaking soft Swahili and volunteering at a community rehab center. Brian the Phantom grew dreadlocks and wore a fake neck tattoo. He posed as a DJ in Namibia, performing in underground clubs and using performance art as a cover. Dennis swapped glasses for contacts, grew a beard, and wore coastal council robes. He became Kwame Dubois, a peace ambassador in Zanzibar. Sadly, Janet had to chop off her unique, beautiful, shoulder length natural locks. She dyed what was left snow white and donned fake reading glasses and floral dresses. She posed as a nurse working at a children's clinic in Madagascar. You all need to chill out on this. The Chan rivalry is over. Just get over it. Mark went to the Seychelles, where he opened an internet cafe called Marcobytes. He taught youngsters basic coding skills and masked his digital footprint using low frequency satellite spoofing. The Jamii Bank's fraud systems triggered anomaly reports on Monday morning. Transaction inconsistencies were flagged by noon, but the massive scale of the heist was discovered on Tuesday during the weekly staff meeting. The bank management wanted to cover it up to maintain faith in supposed integrity and just cover losses through insurance. But the insurance guys refused to cover the cost and decided to report to the DCI. The Economic and Commercial Crimes Unit, which deals with white collar crimes such as fraud, and the Financial Investigations Unit, specifically mandated to enforce the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act, was scrambled. Both departments, operating under the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, launched investigations on Friday. They were led by Inspector Lawrence Modui, a composed forensics graduate officer with a record of dismantling tech scams in Mombasa and in Eldoret. They examined the logs. They stared at the lines of code, surprised by the level of mastery involved. These aren't your normal small-time amateur hackers. Their intel is too advanced, he told the bank management. The investigations continued. Ethical hackers were scrambled and put on the case. But the trace led to banned relays in Czechoslovakia, scrambled API pings in Brussels and Singapore, and blockchain transactions so fragmented that they couldn't be reassembled. The intelligence community was caught off guard. Not even the dark web had seen this coming. The Interpol Financial Crime and Anti-Corruption Center had its feelers all over the case. This Walnut Stories correspondent broke the story, calling it the virtual ghost money heist. Social media in Kenya didn't disappoint. TikTok and X were flaming hot. The virtual streets and underground forums were filled with respect and praise for the seven legends. Crazy lit hashtags like hashtag Kenyan money heist, hashtag Kenyan legends, hashtag lethal hackers, hashtag Maze Kenya Sihami, and hashtag they ain't thieves, they evolved trended across Africa and globally, stamping Kenyan's authority on the digital maps. The DCI shared the photos of the seven with bounties in the millions placed on their heads. Kenyans know just how to spin any situation into creative advantage, and this was not different. Comic shorts, graphic tunes, and memes flooded social media. An anonymous muralist painted Miriam's hooded figure holding a glowing USB stick on the archives wall in the CBD. Janet's figure appeared on one of the billboards on the southern bypass. She was treating children in Kibera. Kevin and Dennis were curated as characters in short comic tunes on Viusasa and YouTube. Tasha appeared on a digital billboard on Wayaki Way, scripting code on a computer screen above a graffiti phrase that said, "Reclaim the system." Code-filled images of the seven legends were branded on bootleg t-shirts, hoodies, caps, and other merchandise. They were ordered and cleared off the shelves faster than how the popular Chan football jerseys had flown off the shelves. A couple of months passed without any reports of the seven. No breaking news or leads in the investigation, just silence. And just when you thought you'll never get to hear of them ever again, your Walnut Stories correspondent broke the story. She got wind of rumors of anonymous parcels of foodstuffs reaching residents of Zimmerman Estate. The parcels were branded Code of the Syndicate. They included a 90-kilogram sack of maize and beans, a 90-kilogram pack of sugar, 50-kilogram pack of rice, and 20 liters of cooking oil. What a nice surprise in this harsh economic environment, right? It was likely the seven were behind the generosity. Seems that their parents' psyops had touched a nerve after all. Let's take a break and come back for part 2. Now, did you like it? Subscribe to Walnut Stories. Smash the notifications button and share with as many friends as possible. And most important of all, share your thoughts in the comment section. Looking forward to see you in part 2. Bye!